Marching, hut!
Forward, march.
Reason, arms!
Color guard. Halt. Left face. Present. Arms.
Stand back.
Order. Arms.
Order, arms!
People re-resting at ease.
We're ready, rest,
Color guard fall down.
at ease.
Color guard. Fall out.
It's not quite 2 o'clock yet, so we weren't quite ready to start.
They were just practicing.
We were just practicing.
Anyway, feel free to grab refreshments. Is that really?
It's almost 2. No, I didn't bring them. Never do.
Hello, this is not a practice run.
Really?
Thank you for joining us today for this celebration of Veterans Day. I'm Teresa Hearn, the Executive Director of the Derby Community Foundation. We are recording today's gathering so that we can share it later on social media. The weather didn't cooperate with us to be at the park, but as I was telling Debbie Nelson a little while ago, in the 11 years that we have been holding this event, we've only had to move inside 4 times. So that's a pretty good average. We are very grateful to the Reverend Mike Lloyd, Lori Mills, and the entire congregation of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church for allowing us to take refuge here today. After the event, you are welcome to bundle up and explore the Walk of Freedom right across the street at Garrett Park. Joining us today is the talented Molly Poor-Hussein, who is Derby USD 260's Teacher of the Deaf. And she is going to be joined today for the Pledge of Allegiance with Derby High School student Tyson Duong. So thank you both for offering your services here today. To begin, members of the Derby High School Air Force ROTC, under the command of Colonel Michael Dillard, will present the colors. We invite you to stand if you are able, and please remove your hats.
Mike, marching, hut!
Color guard. Attention. Forward, march. Color guard. Halt. Left face.
Reason, arms!
Present. Colors.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Order. Colors.
Order, arms!
Right face. Forward, march.
At ease.
Color guard. Halt. Fall out.
Please be seated. The Walk of Freedom is a beautiful tribute to Derby area veterans, and we are so grateful to the City of Derby and the Public Works Department staff, many of whom are veterans themselves, for the meticulous care that they take to maintain this memorial. Joining us today is the City of Derby's Mayor, Randy White. Randy?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me. I hope they don't mind that I parked on the grass. There's a pretty good crowd out there today. I think it's cold enough, it's not muddy enough. I think we'll probably get away with it. I would like to share with you that I have several council members in here. I see Elizabeth, I see Mike, I've seen Rick back there, I see the Howells are with us. Always nice to have some elected officials in the room showing honor to our veterans. Appreciate you being here. With that said, I have to tell you, I enjoy doing this every year. One of the years, right here in this room, we did move inside. I got to talk about Robert Parson, one of our World War veterans that we lost when he was 102, but we did get to recognize him on his birthday. And on the short list of the things that I really enjoyed doing as mayor, that was one of them. Another thing that I got to do last year, I got to watch somebody else do last year, was at this particular celebration, I watched our senior center give out over 100 quilts that they had handmade to our veterans. And I thought that was really special too. This year, as of yesterday, I didn't have a clue what I was going to talk about. I just figured it would come to me. And so yesterday at 7 o'clock, when I went over to my grandson's music program at Stone Creek, I sat there and thought, well, I think I know what I'm going to talk about. They sang 6 songs, and they were the Star Spangled Banner, Yankee Doodle, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, You're a Grand Old Flag, America, My Country 'Tis of Thee, and This Land Is Your Land. And I was so humbled to hear what they were teaching our kids to sing in our schools. You know, there's only one way this is going to work, and that is that we share this from generation to generation to generation. So I took a moment to look up these songs. The Star Spangled Banner was written by Francis Scott, and it was written during the Battle of Fort McHenry during the Revolution. And it is our national anthem. And his name was Francis Scott Key. And I thought, in the middle of a battle, he's writing a song. The next one was Yankee Doodle Dandy. It was written by a British guy, Dr. Robert Suckelberg. And it was written in 1775, once again, during the same battle for our country. And it was written to mock our troops. It was written as an insult. They were a bunch of country hicks, and they had no business being in this battle. Of course, they picked it up and said, hey, we like being country hicks, we'll just take that song. And so that's how we got that song. The Battle Hymn of the Republic, Julia Ward Howe wrote that during the Civil War, and it was actually written as an anti-slavery protest song, which I thought was interesting. You're a Grand Old Flag, written by George Cohn. It was a tribute to once again, to the U.S. flag during a battle when they looked up and the flag was still there. The next song was America, My Country 'Tis of Thee. Samuel Francis Smith wrote in 1831. Once again, they stole the melody from the British national anthem, but it's about American patriotism, and I thought that was really nice. And finally, This Land Is Your Land. This was written by Woody Guthrie in 1940, and as he drove around this great country and he noticed how beautiful it was, he also noticed how it seemed like a lot of people had a lot and some people didn't have as much. And so he wrote a song about this land is your land, this land is our land. And I thought that was interesting. But I'll share with you, once again, I am just honored to be your mayor. I'm a proud American. I don't hide that at all. And we got something else going today that I want to make sure you all were invited to. We were actually being recognized as a Purple Heart City today. So it'll be at 3 o'clock, the doors open. We're going to serve refreshments, and at 4 o'clock, once again, we're going to do a couple more speeches. I actually spent a little more time on that one. And we are going to be recognized as only 6 cities in the state of Kansas that's receiving this honor to honor our veterans with signs that are going to be placed at all of the entrances to our city that's going to recognize that we support our veterans and their families in every way that we can. And it is an honor to have a neighbor like McConnell Air Force Base. And I was watching the news this morning, and I'll close with this. Quote, "We should treat every day as Veterans Day." Thanks for having me.
You didn't put the stool back.
Randy's not as vertically challenged. Thank you, Randy. Like so many things, the Derby Area Veterans Memorial started as a dream. In this case, the dreamer was former math teacher at Derby High School, Debbie Nelson, who is with us today. Wave your hand, Debbie. The Walk of Freedom was completed and dedicated in 2011. The memorial is a quarter-mile hike and bike path that includes a station for every branch of the United States military, and each of those branches features bricks dedicated to Derby area veterans. The entryway to the memorial is dedicated to and pays tribute to Colonel Merlin Deathlison, who is Derby's only known recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor. There's also a station that pays tribute to the families and spouses of military veterans who kept the home fires burning. And that was inspired and funded by longtime Derby resident, past member of the Derby Community Foundation Board of Directors, a veteran himself, and just a genuine, wonderful man, Jim Coffey. Each year we add bricks to the Walk of Freedom so that it is truly a perpetual memorial. And this year we're adding 27 bricks, which may explain the large number of people here today. We're grateful for every brick that's purchased to honor a veteran. And now I'm going to read the names of everyone for whom a brick was purchased in the last 12 months and has been installed at the Veterans Memorial. So in the Air Force Station, Ricardo Davila, Major Jack Farr, Tony Glidewell, Clyde L. Groh, Harold Harding, Brian Johnson, Richard Norrod, Glenn Pearson. In the Army Station, Stephen Hundley, James B. Keller, John D. Keller, Paul G. Nelson, Scott L. Noller, Fred W. Shanks, David Tanike, Stephen Towns. In the Navy Station, Donald E. Bodie, Thomas Brosius, John L. Dye, Lloyd Gilmore, Thomas Kennedy, Gary C. Neal, James Rohr, Ronald Roy, Joe C. Shanks, Jack Waldschmidt. And last but certainly not least, in the Marine Station, Clifton Nelson, also known as Mad Dog. You will find Walk of Freedom brick order forms on the Derby Community Foundation website and also at the Welcome Center. But if you would like to take a form home with you today, just ask the woman there in the red blazer with it waving the red folder. She happens to be a veteran and my sister Barbara Bolger. And Barbara also has pledge forms in that folder to the Veterans Memorial Endowment Fund, which is a fund we started to designate the continuing maintenance of the Walk of Freedom. I talked about Debbie's dream. Well, I had a dream too, Debbie. A few years ago, I was in Emporia, Kansas in November. And those of you who don't know, Emporia considers itself the Veterans City of America because they were the first community to hold a Veterans Day parade. And I understand that parade is something to see, and someday, when I'm no longer hosting this event in Derby, I'm gonna go to Emporia and watch their parade. But during that visit to Emporia, I was moved by the military veteran banners that are on display on the light poles all over town. For the past 3 years, I've been working with Robert Mendoza, the City of Derby's Public Works Director, and Christy Bonsomer, the Communications Director for the city, to see if Derby could find a way to have similar banners displayed in our community. And I am really happy to say that today, that day has arrived. Next year, as the Derby Community Foundation celebrates its 30th anniversary, we are going to embark on launching a 3-year project to sell and display hometown military hero banners on light poles along Buckner Street and along K-15 south of Buckner. Keith Humphrey, who is the chair of the Derby Community Foundation Board of Directors, is here today, and he is going to unveil for all of us a sample banner that has been created for us for this project. So hit it, Keith. So details about how to order a banner will be available in January. So watch for e-newsletters from the Community Foundation, social media posts. It will be in the Derby Informer, various city publications. We're very excited about this cooperative project. It will be a fundraiser to build the Veterans Memorial Endowment Fund so that we can continue to provide for the ongoing maintenance of the Veterans Memorial and any new additions that may come our way in the future. Thanks, Keith. Before we end our celebration today, I'd like to recognize a few people who are here. I introduce you to Keith. He's our board chair. He is also a veteran. Elizabeth Stanton is here. She is our vice chair. And Randy mentioned she is also on the city council. We'd like to extend thanks to Colonel Michael Dillard and to the cadets from Derby High School who support so many events in our community. The members of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church are providing refreshments, so please stop. It's a beautiful spread, and they don't want to take everything home, so please stop and have some. We're really grateful for their support year after year. We want to thank Molly for being here today. Thank you, Molly. And to Alan Larimore, who you will hear play taps very soon. And finally, not to be overlooked, Dave Peebler, the man behind the camera. He is a past recipient of the Community Foundation's Elizabeth Kinch Generosity Award. And one of the many reasons that Dave was recognized was because he lends his videographer skills to events like this one. The Derby Informer, our local newspaper, published a tribute to veterans this week. The cadets were handing them out as you came in today. There's probably more. The Informer gave us a huge stack, so if you didn't get one and you'd like to take one with you, please feel free to do that. We appreciate that annual publication by the Informer. Every name for every brick that is at the Veterans Memorial is listed in that publication. Right, Mike Sandin, you made sure that a few years ago there were some deleted, and Mike proofread there's about 600 names, and made sure that everybody was still in there. So, before we end, would everyone who is in attendance today who is a veteran please stand? Honoring the sacrifice many have made for our country in the name of freedom and democracy is the very foundation of Veterans Day, which is to say that all of you who just stood are the foundation for Veterans Day. And we are indebted to each and every one of you for the service that you provided to protect our freedom and our democracy. Today's celebration will end with the playing of taps by Alan Larimore. After taps is finished, like I said, please feel free to help yourself to the refreshments and enjoy the company of everyone who's here today.